On each of the committee amendments.
The gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the amendment.
The gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, this amendment strips about $380,000 out of the budget for positions at the Virginia State Police for them to handle the process of processing restoration of rights applications, and there has been an increase in that process, and so they need more money in order to do it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is yet another missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity to bring more members of our society back into the political process, to expand participation in Virginia's public discourse. Restoring voting rights for people who have paid their debt to society already is not a partisan issue. In fact, it's an issue that both Governors McDonnell and McAuliffe have correctly made a priority in their respective administrations. Virginia is one of only 11 states that either bar citizens with prior felony convictions from voting permanently or require the state to provide an exemption on an individualized basis. I will tell you that roughly 7% of the total voting age population in Virginia is disenfranchised. And we know, unfortunately, that felony disenfranchisement disproportionately affects the African American community. Listen to this number. Over 20% of the voting-aged African American population in Virginia is disenfranchised. 20%. The McAuliffe administration has already made great strides in addressing this. As of today, the administration has restored the rights of over 16,000 individuals, which is more than the past 4 governors combined. The demand is high. But since the governor's policy changed last June, where he removed payment of court costs as a requirement, and just as an aside, by the way, of course that change makes sense. As our Secretary of Commonwealth once pointed out, why should a person with a $25,000 tax lien be allowed to vote, but someone who owes $500 in court costs not be allowed to vote? But since that policy changed, the monthly average of applications has risen from 600 to over 1,000 applications. And additionally, on a monthly basis, DOC tells the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office about people who have been released and are currently eligible, and that adds another 1,000 names to the list. So the workload has increased dramatically. And despite that progress, the administration's over 16,000 restorations account still for less than 5% of Virginians who have lost their right to vote. There's a lot more work left to be done to let individuals know how to access this process. This budget amendment seeks to slow that process, to keep people from voting. It takes money out of this important program. Ladies and gentlemen, for over a century, Virginia has required felons to pay their debt to society before they can be re-enfranchised. But once they have satisfied that debt, the least we can do, the fair thing to do, is to restore funding in this budget to help these folks get access to the foundation of American democracy, the ballot. I urge the body to reject this amendment and vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.